Okay, here we are. We are coming out of the corners, swinging with all of our might. This is the Subject to Changes podcast. I am here with my good friend and co-host Eric Michaelian. Eric, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. It's the start of a new year, and like you said, we're coming out swinging.
Coming out swinging. And we're touching upon a series of movies that were based on another series of movies. So before we get into what came after, we should probably talk about the Rocky series. We have six Rocky films, all pretty good, I think. They really impacted film and society. What did you think of the Rocky series as a whole?
Well, I recently just watched all of them in a row, and they're pretty addicting, and you can kind of flow through them like pretty fast. But as a movie series, they definitely dip in quality. I know this is controversial, but I think the second one really dips in quality from the first. The third one goes even further. The fourth one it's fun, but it's not really a movie. It's just a series of montages. And I think it kind of comes back in the fifth one. I like Rocky 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rocky 6 comes back, and it's just a feel good movie. It didn't set the world on fire or anything, but it's got that one speech that everybody loves.
It sure
And
does.
I think they're amazing movies. They really did set the tone for sports movies forever now. I mean, how do you make a sports movie without thinking of Rocky? And I know these are some of your favorite movies, correct?
Yes, sir. It may be my favorite series of films this side of Friday the 13th. You look at Rocky, the first Rocky, it's a perfect film. It is so good. The underdog getting his shot, outperforming and overperforming, like reaching his potential, because how many people can relate to not taking their shot? And how many people took their shot after they saw Rocky? Because it's a very inspirational film. You leave the cinema after watching it shadow boxing and wanting to take on the world. Rocky 2, I think, is very, very good. I think it's kind of like the sister movie to Rocky, and obviously it is just by design, but you could put them together and just make one big movie. Rocky 3, fucking love it. Rocky 4, love it. Rocky 5, outside of making Rocky dumb again and his annoying son. But other than that, it's good. And then, of course, Rocky Balboa, great. So, well, it ran from 1976 to 2006. 9 years later, we would revisit the series with Creed. Huh. What did you think it was a good idea on paper to say, hey, we want Rocky back. He can't fight anymore. So, how do we explore a series where the guy can't fight anymore? And we've already established in Balboa that his son, Robert, isn't a fighter. He's an accountant or something. He either has to make amends with Tommy Gunn or they got to go in a different direction. What did you think of Creed having a bastard child and building on that?
I mean, that's kind of ham-fisted. Literally, they pulled this story like right out of their ass. But I thought that Rocky going into a training role was the natural progression. Rocky 5 to me is like, yes, he becomes Mick. You know, the
He
kind
does.
of old, worn out fighter that didn't have anything to live for, but then he starts training someone and then he sort of regains his mojo. And I think that's what Stallone thought the logical progression was too with Rocky 5. But then Ryan Coogler, who was sort of fresh off of Fruitvale Station, but before Black Panther, said that he wanted to take the idea of Apollo Creed, since he was murdered in the fourth one, that he has a
Yes.
son that is a fighter. And with the way that Creed died in part four, it makes a lot of sense why Rocky would come back to train him. He's got that guilt that he felt because he blames himself for Apollo dying because he didn't stop the fight. Now, okay, this is something that really bugs me about
Hmm.
these movies. Rocky takes it on himself that it's his fault that Apollo died, right? He
Yep.
should have thrown in the towel. He should have stopped the fight. Why does the referee never get any sort of blowback for like allowing the fight to continue when Apollo Creed was very clearly being killed in the ring?
The referee shouldn't take any heat for it because if you watch the fight, the referee tries to stop it and Drago shoves him out of the way to continue the battery. The referee tried to do his job, and Rocky should watch that because if he throws a referee out of the way to kill Apollo, do you think he's going to give two fucks about a towel being thrown in? He went in there to put a message across to boxing, and Drago did it. He knocked Apollo's dick in the dirt in a big way.
He knocked Apollo into the dirt.
Yeah,
he fucking 6 feet into the dirt. But I think that whole storyline is really ham-fisted. And I when I first read the synopsis for Creed, I was like, that sounds like the dumbest story I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. But I think this movie salvages that storyline because the whole Creed, legacy, wanting to live up to his dad, all of that is I think a storyline the Rockies never really explored, and I think they got a really good opportunity here. So let's dive right in.
Why don't you give me or give the audience and myself a brief synopsis of Creed? We've done it kind of a little bit, but if you want to just give it a roundabout, and then we'll go.
So Adonis Creed is the illegitimate son of Apollo Creed, who gets adopted by Apollo Creed's wife, played by Felicia Rashad. Adonis is played by Michael B. Jordan. He wants to make a name for himself in the boxing world, but does not want to use his father's name. So he fights down in Tijuana for a while and then comes up to train with Wood Harris, who's playing Duke, the trainer's kid. Now, what did you think about Wood Harris as what they call Little Duke?
I didn't like it, because Duke was such a great character. They could have just brought him in as another trainer that just worked at the place, maybe knew Duke. What, calling him Little Duke? And Little Duke when he's 50? Like, I could understand if he's a little kid. Hey, did you meet Duke's grandkid, Little Duke? Like, I could get that. But yeah, I wasn't a fan at all of Little Duke. Wood Harris is a good actor, but yeah, Little Duke, not so much.
So Little Duke says that he doesn't want to train Adonis. So Adonis goes to Philadelphia to be trained by Rocky, who's reluctant at first. But then he gets into the ring, gets his ass knocked out by
Andre Ward.
Andre Ward. Now, what's funny is Michael B. Jordan is fucking shredded. And you can tell who's really a boxer and who's not a boxer because the boxers all have like practically shaped bodies and all the actors are just like 6-pack abs and massive traps and shit like that. What did you think about the difference in physique between the practical boxer and the actor boxer?
You nailed it because it was unbelievable that anyone that follows boxing, with the exception of like a few fighters, boxers are built for the sport, and packing on all that muscle is going to kill your cardio and it's going to kill your flexibility. So it was really unrealistic. But like you said, the difference between Andre Ward and Michael P. Jordan, and the difference between Gabe Rosado and who was the champion there that played Collins? He was another world champion fighter. That these guys are built like boxers. Michael P. Jordan was just wanted to look good on film. I think Rocky
was it Tony Bellew?
Tony Bellew, yep, former cruiserweight champion. And I thought, as far as boxing actors go, he may be the best in the Rocky series as Conlon. I think he really did well in that role as an actor.
Yeah, I thought so too. He looks like an asshole, and he was playing an asshole, so it totally worked for me. Adonis meets a girl named Bianca, hearing loss, who's also a musician. And once he introduces himself to Rocky's Creed, Rocky feels guilty enough after Apollo's death to take on training Adonis here. So he moves in with Rocky, and they start training, man. But the old insecurities rear their ugly heads, and Adonis has some behavioral issues. What did you think about Adonis as a character?
Hated him.
Really?
Complete bitch. If he's not crying, he's yelling. That's all he has. He either cries or he yells. And there's at no point in this series was I rooting for him to win. So when he goes to Rocky and he's like, "Hey, uncle," this is a guy who was born into extreme wealth, bitching about his daddy for 3 fucking films. It was so tough because if it wasn't for Stallone, this movie would be unwatchable. Michael B. Jordan, his depiction of the character was crap. Bianca was incredibly unlikable. These are our heroes. Like, it really was hard to support what they wanted us to support in this film, in my opinion.
I actually felt the opposite. I thought Michael B. Jordan did a great job with this character. He sort of got all the sides of that angry young man looking to prove himself, where his anger is kind of directionless. And anytime anyone really challenges him or makes him feel small or insecure, he beats the shit out of them. And that comes up later in the third one too. So they kept that through line. Like, that young man ego you have where you're just like, I'll fucking prove myself to the world, god damn it. And
Hmm.
if I have to get my brains beat in to do it, I feel like Michael B. Jordan really captured that sort of aimless young male aggression pretty well.
There was too much bitch in him.
What does that mean?
He was too soft. They were kind of like playing two different things here. One, he's a whining crybaby, and two, he's this badass. If you watch him in any of the scenes, like and pick a random scene, he's like so over the top crybaby-ish, for lack of a better term. Like with Rocky, when he gets all tough with him, what are you doing here? And he starts breaking down over Rocky saying one thing. The thing with Rocky is he got emotional, but he also knew that he had to be the rock. He had to be the thing that kept Paulie in line, that made Adrian feel secure, that the fans could get behind. Where if you watch Adonis, he's either begging Bianca not to dump him, he is shitting on Rocky, or he's beating up his opponent and screaming at him the whole time. He's so unlikable. I don't get the depiction because there's a place for Adonis to be emotional about his daddy and all that stuff. He just does it in like almost every scene, and it was very, very grating.
I thought it was a nice contrast to Rocky because Rocky is supposed to be older in the first movie. Like, how old is Rocky? He's like 30 something, right?
Yeah, because he's a journeyman beyond his better days. Yep.
Yeah, and Adonis is in that looking to prove himself way. And like yeah, I'm sure a lot of young men that have those pent up feelings and they have nowhere to go. So he takes it into the ring with him. I think that he was really good because it had those levels and you saw why he fights. That's actually a pretty good through line through the whole series is like understanding what he is fighting about and understanding how his emotions fuel the fights that he has. I thought this movie did a really good job at portraying that.
I felt bad for that poor rich guy.
I will say this.
People,
Can I just say this?
go ahead.
This movie is a treatise on nepo babies.
Like if you have a celebrity relative or especially father, it's easy to pale in comparison. You see it in boxing all around. You see it with Joe Frazier when his son Marvis became a boxer and got blown out of there, but he wanted to be a boxer because his dad was one. So I get it, and I get some of the things they were trying to do here, and I didn't completely hate this movie, but it's hard to like a movie when the main characters are unlikable. And that's what really got me. Even like Bianca. I have my issues with Adrian, but Bianca's a total bitch. Why would he even go for her? I don't get it. I know she's beautiful, but beyond that, she's a pain in the ass. Did you feel that way? Did you see her as too difficult to deal with?
I don't think so. The relationship to me seemed way more casual and more of a back burner type thing. The relationship becomes more prevalent in the sequels, but I thought this was kind of a nice balance of, she's there, she helps motivate him, but doesn't really get in the way of the fighting aspect of it. Because
Yeah.
we're all here for the fight. We're not here for the relationship drama.
No, and this movie is 90% relationship drama.
And I
Eh,
have issues with Tessa Thompson anyway, but that's a whole different issue.
yeah, I don't know her. I do know that all this shit about her making it as a big time musician that bled into the third one, or stopped in the third one. Who would go pay to see that nonsense? It's really unbelievable. I can say Creed, having the Creed name and having Rocky as a trainer, even if he sucks, would be a money making attraction. Bianca's singing would do nothing. It was terrible, and it was like her whole character took away from this film. Like I could not stand Bianca in at all throughout this film. I like Felicia Rashad, and I didn't like her character either. They did not capture Rocky at all in this series, with the exception maybe a little bit in the third one. At least that's how I feel.
I don't know. I think some of Rocky's greatest scenes are in this movie. Rocky ends up getting cancer in the movie, and he doesn't want to
Yes.
tell Adonis. The way he avoids telling him, in his face as right after he learns about cancer, I thought that was like some of Stallone's best acting. There's also a
I,
great scene where he talks about this poster in back. He's like, I'm just going to be like one of those guys. They're, that they were very popular once, but then they faded into obscurity. And I'm like, dude, fucking Stallone
no,
brought it
Stallone. He
in
is
this movie.
He's the highlight of this film.
But
But
I
make
feel
no
like
mistake.
that hit a lot on themes that Rocky was sort of touching on, and like how he became the Mickey character. That is, like, to me, the logical progression and like how Rocky should end. This did hit like a Rocky movie.
No, at times it felt like Rocky 6. Like when you took out Adonis and Bianca and just let Stallone go, it felt like Rocky when he visited the graves, where he had the conversation at the hospital, even like the conversation with Adonis initially at the restaurant, where he told him that Creed beat him. Stallone is very, very good, and he's, with the exception of some bad movies he's done in the past, as Rocky, he's amazing in anything. But this basically is a project piggybacking off a talented writer in Stallone and just capitalizing it. And then you can't argue with success. They made a lot of money, but if this movie was just put out as a boxing movie and they took the Creed and they took Rocky out of it, this film would have bombed.
That's kind of the point the movie's making, because Conlon, when they find out that Adonis is actually a Creed, they book a title fight for him because of the name, which is, obviously very meta, that like because of the name of Rocky and Creed, this movie was greenlit and became very successful. So he gets a title fight in the movie based on that name. And which is, I love little meta narrative things like that. I thought that was very fitting, considering that's how the Italian Stallion got his title shot too.
I did like Conlon and his trainer. That scene where basically Conlon sucker punched Wheeler and ruined the fight, and now he's got all this legal bullshit, and they need to do something to make money and something to get him back in a positive light. So taking on Adonis and taking it easy on him is probably like will make some public goodwill. But I had a hard time, man. This is the whole thing. Is like Rocky. How can you not root for Rocky? How many people are on their feet today watching Rocky beat up Mr. T or beat up Drago or fight Apollo? Even when he fought Mason DeLine Dixon, as bad as Mason Dixon was as a character, when he knocked him down, it was like, yeah, go get him. With Adonis, I was hoping that anything would happen. Fucking drop dead in the ring. I don't care. Get Drago back. Fly him from Russia. Get him back. Let him finish his son off too.
I was gonna say, hang on, man, because that comes up in the sequel. I felt like the introduction of Adonis when he is in juvenile detention, and he's busted for fighting, and he's like sort of framed in the doorway, and he's angry and pissed off. I'm like, that to me set up the entirety of who he was, and it was enough for me as a character to go, okay, this explains kind of everything. Where I want to say it was like, how the fuck old was he? Like 12 or something like that in the very beginning?
Yeah, like 12. Yeah.
And he probably spent the whole time in the foster system, got fucked over by his dad. I have such a soft spot for troubled youths. Yeah, I'm not going to say he's not whiny. He's definitely whiny, but like you kind of watch that progression of him becoming a man. In the last fight, when the final round happened and he stood up to end up Gonna Fly Now played, I was like, oh shit, there it is. Like he became a man in that moment.
But then he gave up in the second one. Any championship boxer has to have a level of toughness and bravado that they hold on to. They don't go home and cry. The boxer's mindset is so different than what this is. I really hated how whiny he was, and it got worse. And then we'll talk about the second one. But
we're like, oh, I want to talk about the second one so bad.
I want to like this series because I want to pretend it's not a cash grab. I want to pretend it's a tribute to the series, but I can't. It's not there. It's just it's so irritating at times, and there were so many times watching these three movies where I wanted to just skip over everything and just get to the fight at the end, but I didn't want to miss anything. But it's just predictable, repetitive, and annoying. This, with the exception of Sly Stallone and Tony Bellew as Pretty Ricky Conlon, I didn't find a lot that I liked with this one.
Ryan Coogler wrote this like right after Fruitvale Station, which I don't know if you saw that one.
I missed. I know of it, but I've not seen it.
Good fucking movie. He wrote this as kind of like a dream project that he wanted to work. Like he didn't have rights or anything to it. He wound up approaching Stallone about it, and Stallone got excited and was like, "Oh fuck yeah!" And Stallone changed the Rocky dialogue to sort of have that Rocky tempo because Rocky speaks in a very specific way. Rocky is definitely a character that seems so natural and seems so like real and honest that like you can't believe that's not how Sylvester Stallone actually talks. I don't think he gets enough credit as an actor because he in this movie I think it's outside of the first one maybe his best Rocky performance. Sacrilege,
well, I think also
know.
Rocky Balboa also, he brought it there too. In the Rocky series, you had in 1 and 2, he was the dramatic Stallone, and then the action Stallone came in, and then he went back to like his acting because like Copland was another movie that Stallone shined, and this one he shined. Like when Stallone was on the screen, it was captivating stuff because the Rocky character is awesome and so likable, and broken. Like he hasn't done everything right, and I kind of like what they did in this film with that, where he's facing the things he's done wrong. But what a missed opportunity to make a good film. I would have liked to see just a few things, like a different writer, different actors, a different story, and I would have been happy.
Do you think that this movie is beneficial for introducing like a new generation to the Rocky films?
I don't think so. I don't know if the I would hope so, I guess, just because like if you watch this and you want to see the history, maybe it'll bring some eyeballs. The fact that it's so popular and it did so well, it probably did bring eyeballs to the original Rocky series. So that's good, but it's just so bad. I'm not sure if the people that would really enjoy this would enjoy the Rocky films because they're kind of very different, especially in quality.
Before we move on, what did you think of the training montage in this film and how does it stack up against the other ones? And what's your favorite Rocky training montage?
Okay, so the training montages in this were pretty good. I will say that there's no doubt that Jordan took boxing classes and for form and how to punch and how to hit the mitts and hit the bag. So yeah, I give them props on that. The music I thought was shitty at times, good at times, decent, passable. The best training montage for a Rocky film, it has to be the first one, right? When he's running up the steps in Philadelphia, the running past the oil rigs and all that stuff. That is like my personal favorite because it makes you feel good. The most impressive was probably is the silliest is Rocky 4, where he's doing all those like incredible things that people only in that shape could do, like that thing where he's holding the board and putting his legs up in the air. I'm like, holy shit! But then when he screams Drago from the top of the mountain, it leaves you with a laugh. So, so
like talk about ending a montage on a wet fart.
what they should have done after he screamed it, go to Drago sitting in his house reading a newspaper and looking up like he heard it. That would have been awesome.
I must break him. I will break him.
So what is your favorite Rocky montage?
Fucking 3 is pretty epic.
It is.
I do like the running on the beach. 4 is great. I don't like 4 as a movie, but the training, it's all training montage, but the training montages in it are fucking great. Except for the fact that like Rocky's in the Siberia and did not think that like, oh, maybe I should like, I don't know, have some sparring partners or something like that. It's like, no, I'm going to chop wood and I'm going to do pull-ups. Maybe you want to get in the ring too, like get some ring work in? No? All right. Well, you can run in the snow too. That's cool, I guess. So I would say I like 3. 3 is pretty good because for some reason all of these movies take place in the winter. But that was like the only time I remember there being like, oh, they're at the beach, jumping in the ocean and hugging each other. So as much as I don't like Rocky 3, I like that training montage. And Mr. T working out was pretty dope too. What would your final thoughts on Creed 1 be?
I'm glad they made the movie only because I love Rocky. And I got to see Rocky again. And I just wish they made like a 15-minute version of just his scenes. But this is a shit movie. It should be a one and done for people that watch it. I doubt it. It definitely doesn't have the rewatchability of any of the Rocky films. Adonis is a shit character. Bianca's a shit character. If you can't support the main characters as they rally to be the hero, then the movie's lost. So I was voting for Conlon. I was voting for Rocky to come back to the ring to fight Conlon, anything. But yeah, this is a piss poor movie. I definitely don't recommend it. What about you?
I thought this movie was great. I got emotional watching it, watching him grow up to be a man and like learning the lessons of patience, and you don't have to shun everything you are to be your own person. I think that this movie did really well with resurrecting the Rocky character in a respectful manner without like sucking its dick too much. And I love Ryan Coogler as a director. There was definitely some parts of the script that were really stiff and really clunky. But I think the performances, in my estimation, carried it. It was a really good movie. I would put it up there with the best Rocky movies. So
wow,
it's A+ for me, man.
Wow, D- for me, man.
Why is it a D- and not an F? Is it just because of Rocky?
Rocky, but also Tony Bellew as pretty Ricky Conlon. I like that. I thought he was very good. The ending fight was relatively decent. It just stunk. We got a shitty lead that I'm not sure what Jordan was going for, but I think it was, this whole crybaby thing will get him more asses in the seats, maybe more of a date movie than a guy movie, but it just wasn't realistic. It just made him like an unlikable, entitled sap.
Sidebar.
Yeah.
This movie looks amazing. There's one fight that is all done in one unbroken take, and it's fucking great. The camera work in this is incredible. I would recommend this movie based on just the camera work.
The editing was good too, and I like how they introduced the fighters and froze the screen and gave some info. I thought that was pretty decent. Yeah, and it was nice seeing some real fighters in there, which is a throwback to the Rocky series because you had Gabe Rosado and Tony Bellew and Andre Ward. It had some things that were positive, but overall, thumbs down for me for sure. But now we're going into the 2018 sequel. Now, as much as I wasn't a huge fan of Creed, when I heard that Drago had a son and Drago was coming back, I had this amazing thought in my head that Stallone and Lundgren were going to have a lot of scenes together and we're going to have a lot of fun with this. But I was disappointed. What do you think, Eric? Brief synopsis of Creed 2, and then we will go.
Ivan Drago of Rocky 4 fame has a son who's working his way through the boxing world. I also noted that once it was announced that Ivan Drago had a son for Rocky 2, like Mr. T was like looking at his phone being like, come on, Creed 3. Come on, Creed 3. So he fights his way through the ranks and gets a title shot from Donnie. Drago threatens Rocky in his restaurant. And it's all based on this one fight promoter whose name is Buddy Marcel, who wants to see Creed versus Drago 2. God, I really hate this Nepo shit. Victor and Creed have a fight in the middle of the movie, which Creed wins by disqualification because Drago punches him after the bell or something?
Yeah, he knocks him down to his knees and then clocks him out of there, which is an illegal punch. So they disqualified poor Victor.
So he keeps the title, but his manhood has been challenged. Which it couldn't have come at a worse time because he and Bianca just got married, and now they're going to have a kid. Oh,
yeah.
So somehow...
Too emotional over that.
I know. Rocky didn't train him to fight in the Drago fight because Rocky doesn't want anything to do with training Creed to fight Drago. Again, not really sure why that is, but we'll get to that. Then the baby is born deaf. Even I know medically that's because Bianca has progressive hearing loss. The baby's born completely deaf. That's
Yeah.
suspect.
Yeah, well, I think like it's explained that the kid didn't want to hear his dad crying all the time, so he ripped out his eardrums.
So, fucking Creed, Adonis wants to fight Drago again, and they said the fight has to be in Russia, and you're like,
Uh,
well, why? What?
yeah.
It's Drago that wants the title shot? It's Drago that got disqualified. Why the fuck? Why is Drago setting the fucking rules of the match here? So then Rocky agrees to be the trainer of Adonis again. He takes him to the desert. He never explains how he knows about this place or where it is or what it is or who these people who are training him are. He just they're just in the desert now. And then he fights Drago again and beats the dog shit out of Drago. He goes to Apollo's grave afterwards and introduces his family to a tombstone.
Yeah.
And it really just ends. It just kind of ends on like a weird note. But like, goddamn, if anything about these movies you should appreciate, it's fucking Carl Weathers. Did we lose him this year or was that last year?
I want to say it was over 2 years ago. I might be wrong.
Carl Weathers, after watching the original, that man was a fucking hero of these movies, and I don't think he ever got the credit that he deserved.
Amazing actor, and he didn't get the credit he deserved as an action star. Action Jackson is a great film.
Yeah, for sure.
Predator, great film. He could have made it as an action star, but I think Action Jackson bombed, and they just said we can't risk all that money again, which happens, one and done in Hollywood. But
yeah, Happy Gilmore, he's really good in that, even though I hate Adam Sandler.
All in the hips. Yeah, he's wonderful.
All in the hips. So, what were some of the things you absolutely adored about Creed 2? Is it your favorite out of the series?
No. I did like the menace that Victor Drago was in the ring. Like, I thought the fight scenes where he was destroying people were done incredibly well. I started to feel like this guy is a killer machine. I also liked the conversation in the restaurant between Drago and Rocky. Very, very impactful to see them come face to face again. And Rocky is kind of unsure what the motives are and what is he going to do if Drago wants to fight again. What bothered me immediately was Ivan Drago, him being a crybaby now. Ludmilla, or whatever Bridget's name was in it, left him. The country left him after he lost to Rocky. Now, Drago is a Russian treasure that went 15 rounds with Rocky, that was well ahead on the cards going into the final round where he lost. Now, wouldn't you think that Russia would put up their entire national budget to get a rematch with Rocky and make things right? They wouldn't just shun Drago, who's obviously a super talented boxer. So, are we to believe that he retired after that fight and then just hid in his basement and his wife left him and now he's just going to live vicariously through his son and ruin his boxing career? It was so tough to watch Ivan Drago have his balls ripped off in this movie. What did you think about Drago Ivan being such a bitch this time around?
He didn't get anything to do. He was a very stern father. And I like Dolph Lundgren. I actually think he's a pretty decent actor. I liked him in Blackjack, and he's a very smart guy. He's a very good-looking fella, too. He's just one of those guys that, like, has it all, you know?
What about I Come in Peace?
And you go in pieces.
Wonderful. That movie does not get the love it deserves. What a wonderful movie that is.
Yeah, I love that movie. Was always playing on cable when we were kids.
Yeah,
I felt that with what he was given, Dolph Lundgren did a really good job with it.
No, not at all.
It kind of treated him just like the fourth movie did. And it's hard not to make those comparisons, obviously, but he was underdeveloped and underplayed. And I did like, however, at the end of the movie, Victor Drago's getting beat up so badly. Ivan throws in the towel.
Yes.
To stop the fight. And I was like, okay, I like that. And the one moment he has with his son where he's like, I'm proud of you, or whatever they say in Russian, that was such a good moment for those two characters that I was like, okay, that to me justifies the whole Ivan Drago thing, because Dolph Lundgren can carry so much emotion on his face without saying a word. And he did that in this movie.
The Drago scenes, he did the best with the shit that they gave him. And Victor Drago was good too, but they also made him very fucking bitchy in this. Like, he should have been a cocky asshole that could not be beat. He should have had all this belief in himself, not this my mommy doesn't love me and my daddy treats me bad shit. He's fucking like the man. They could have made this movie so much better. They could have kept Adonis the bitch throughout the movie, but if Victor was arrogant like his dad was, if Ivan just sat back and enjoyed it, still live vicariously through him, but see more of himself in him, I think this film could have had a lot more legs. And why the hell didn't Ivan and Rocky have more scenes together? They have like one scene together.
They did. I think they even filmed a fight scene that got cut out of the film. But because they had to make way for such exciting things as Bianca's music career and her having a baby, and Felicia Rashad, is this the one where she has strokes?
I think it's the next one.
Felicia Rashad is also there, and like you have to make way for that. So you couldn't. And this movie is fucking 2 hours and 10.
Oh, do you know what I also like is when
literally that synopsis is like all that happens in the movie. But like, I'm just gonna go on a rant really quickly. This
go for it.
Movie's scenes go on so fucking long and nothing is said or done. On a side note, when you and I are on set and I'm always getting after actors about pace, this is why. Because the movie, when actors wait too long between lines to talk, it slows the pace of the movie down and it just becomes fucking boring. So it could have been an okay, watchable, fine film that's well shot and everything becomes such a slog because the actors all seem disinterested in this movie. And the whole movie is low energy. Everyone just looks so tired, like they don't want to be there, and it comes across in the film, and that's why this movie is fucking boring. Sorry, I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
No, it is very boring. It's more irritating than boring because I paid like $16 to go see it on opening night because I wanted to see Drago again. I want that money back. The scene with Creed's mommy and Bianca that goes on for, I don't know, 3 hours. So what's wrong with Adonis? Oh, he's a bitch. Oh, he's a bitch. Yeah, he's a bitch. Yeah, I kind of see he's a bitch. That whole thing of demeaning poor Adonis, even though I've demeaned him so far, what are they doing? Why do we need to bring the point home? He's already cried the whole film. He's already whined about his dad the whole film. Why do we need to bring on more of the same with Bianca and the mom talking about how troubled and how whiny Adonis is? That bothered the shit out of me. And this whole film bothers the shit out of me because there's a good film in here somewhere, but they went out of their way not to find it.
That whole thing felt bogged down. Like you probably could have eliminated Felicia Rashad's character in this, and it would have been fine. And pick up the pace on some of those things. Add a couple more Drago scenes. This would have been a pretty decent movie. I mean, they based it on the worst Rocky movie, which that's what I was like, oh god, like you're doing like a remake of 4? Why?
Well, if you look at like. Well, I'll fight you on that one. We also should say that
this was not directed by Ryan Coogler. This was directed by Stephen Capel Jr., who also did Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
One of the big mistakes in this film was disqualifying Victor in that first fight, because if Victor knocked out Adonis clean and then he brought the belt back to Russia, it gave the reason why the rematch had to be in Russia. Instead, like you said, why would he go to Russia? I'm the champion. You come here. You come to Vegas. Let's go. Or let's go to Saudi Arabia where they pay us $150 million for a fight. Let's go there. But instead, for some reason, Adonis wants to go to avenge his victory at Drago. The stakes aren't here. In Rocky IV, Rocky, the stakes were high. He needed to make things right for Apollo. Here, the stakes are low.
I completely concur. Nothing in this movie carries any importance whatsoever. There's never any doubt Adonis is going to come away as champion. This feels like a very special episode of Creed, you know? Like it's just like it's like an episode in a series. Nothing really of consequence happens except for the fact that this is the last movie with Rocky in it. After Rocky trains him to fight Drago, Rocky says, "That's it for me. This is your time. I'm gonna retire." They never mention his cancer in this movie, like at all. That huge plot point. Did they? Like once.
They did. At one point, Adonis and Bianca are fighting after Rocky said, "I won't train him," and Adonis says, "I got him through that cancer bullshit." So there was that one line.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
So apparently the doctors had nothing to do with it. Adonis got him through it.
Well, it must have been all that sun he was soaking up in that desert training ground that he brought him to. The training montage, instead of taking place in the cold, it takes place in the desert heat. What did you think of the training montage in Creed 2?
It didn't make any sense.
It kind of felt like Rocky was running a prison camp in the middle of the desert.
Way. So you would think like, okay, Stallone is a student of boxing. He follows it religiously. He's a student of the game. None of this makes sense in the realm of the sport. You're bringing him to this like desert shit where he should be training like a fighter, like Rocky should know. In Rocky 3, when he decided to, go out in style and mix like go out in one piece, he fucked up then. He should have brought him to a regular training session, got fighters that emulated Victor Drago's style, and then just did what they did. But a lot of this was just trying to pull out emotion in a very slow movie. Like this film, if they cut out a half hour out of this movie and added more Drago stuff, they could have had something that would at least be watchable. This is unbearable.
This is probably the worst Rocky movie. Stallone, again, on top of his game. Obviously, he brings that old movie star gravitas to what it is, but like this is like the worst one. This is worse than 3.
I will say it's definitely worse than 3, but number 3 is not bad at all. If you watched this film, they did something in the fight scene that was different than we've seen in any other Rocky film. They used CGI to mess up the faces as they're getting punched. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Terrible CGI. Like now you're just taking us completely out of the fight. This film had so much potential. One of the only highlights was when Adonis and Victor are face to face in the rematch, seeing Rocky and Drago face to face again. I like that, but this film,
yeah, I did too. But that's another thing that I noticed when they stood toe to toe with one another. There is no fucking way they're in the same weight class. Holy shit. Drago's like 6'5", what? Do we say 230?
Right, 230, 240.
Michael B. Jordan is like, he's like 6 feet tall, and he's like $165 or $170.
If he's lucky.
What weight class is he in?
He'd be like a super middleweight, and Victor would be a heavyweight. So you're looking at like five weight classes apart from each other.
Is there any way that these two would be fighting ever?
In an exhibition, yes.
Not for the title.
No, not for the title. There's weight limits. He'd have to be 200 pounds or more. So if Adonis wanted to just put on weight, he could, but this fight would never happen. A big guy, a big puncher against a little guy, it would be quick. This is really unbelievable from start to finish, and you really can't hide the size differential here. In the first film, they were Baloo was much bigger, but he wasn't this monster bigger.
Mm-hmm. Because Drago he's not just tall, he's a big guy, the size of like Hulk Hogan or something like that. He's huge.
Yes, he is.
Maybe smaller than Hogan, but you know what I mean. He's just like a really jacked fucking guy. Like whose physique in like the WWE would you say that he had?
Wow. You could say like Rick Rude or a bigger Rick Rude or something like along those lines. Maybe like a a Chris Masters. You know,
Oh yeah, well beyond him.
I thought Victor Drago had a lot of potential, and they just pissed it away. This whole series is just so hung up on the drama element of this fear and emotion. It all goes into the whole boxing world and marriage world. So there is a place for it, and the Rocky series understood it. This one makes it the core of the series, and I think we lose a lot of what made Rocky so special with these Creed films.
I actually think the boxing is usually pretty minor in most of the Rocky films. It really wasn't until Rocky 3 where they added 2 fights to the thing, right? So like
Yeah, yeah,
like the first Rocky, there's a boxing match in the beginning. He punches some meat, and then there's the boxing match at the end. Same Rocky 2, I think there's even less boxing in that one. And then
yeah.
Rocky 3 is when they add in the Hulk Hogan match and the first Mr. T match and the second Mr. T match. And yeah, I mean there's actually in Rocky films there's actually very little boxing. Part 4, it's only Creed and Drago and then Drago and Rocky.
Yeah, but
right?
if you watch the Rocky films, even though there is like in the first one, there's the club fights, and then there's the Apollo fight. The film is based on boxing. The film is a boxing movie, but they add in a boxer's life to it. This one, it doesn't have that feel. This does not feel like a boxing movie. Like Adonis doesn't feel real to me. It just they tried to push it too far. I think the idea was to show that a boxer has fear and emotion and can be scared, which are all good, but the way they translated it through Adonis was terrible, and he was so unlikable because when he was mad and he's just yelling at everyone and being a dickhead, it's like fuck you, Adonis, go fuck yourself. I hated Adonis, and I guess if you hate Adonis, you may not like the Creed series.
It might be an indication, yeah. If you don't like the main character of the movie, you may hate the movie. Good observation, man. What are your final thoughts on Creed 2?
I'm sorry, Lundgren. I'm sorry, Stallone. I'm sorry, guy who played Victor Drago. You deserve so much more. I'm also sorry to Milo Ventimiglia. Killed your last name, but Robert, they should have given you more. This movie, there, like I said, there was a good movie in here somewhere. They lost it. They never found it, or they avoided it completely. They should have at least brought George Washington Duke back. That would have been fun. But yeah, this film stinks. It's the worst in the series by far.
Oh my
Avoid it at
God! Could
all
you
costs.
imagine if Little Duke is the son of George Washington Duke? we thought it was Duke the trainer.
Oh my God, that'd be so. It'd be so, like George Washington Duke would have been so good in this film. Like if Bianca left Adonis for George Washington Duke, that would have been awesome. They won't
They
do.
had an opportunity to bring him in, like this
Yep,
guy Buddy Marcel.
boring.
Yeah, that could have been George Washington Duke easy. I don't know why they didn't do it. Is he still alive?
He is, I think. I've not gotten any things on my Facebook feed that said that the guy who was in Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Hell, and George Washington Duke passed away. Was he also the Pee Wee's Playhouse? Was he the cartoon guy on that show?
Richard Gant.
Gant, yeah.
Oh, he's still alive.
There you go. There you go. Let's bring him back.
Jason Goes to Hell. Yeah.
But this film just stinks. There's really nothing redeemable about it. As much as I love Dolph Lundgren trying and Stallone trying, and Victor, the Victor character he tried to make it work, but this film, yeah, stinks completely, and it doesn't capture anything. And the CGI crowd, the CGI fight, terrible stuff. Thumbs down in the biggest way possible for Creed 2. What do you think, Eric?
I completely agree with you. It was one of those things where you're watching the acting and you're like, you guys are professionals, right? Like you guys do this for a living? Like what the fuck? Nobody seemed interested in making this movie. The guy who directed it went on to go do a Transformers movie, which I'm just like, yep, soulless and lifeless. That's exactly what you're good at directing, my man. I was unimpressed. I honestly don't care about the Drago storyline at all. I never cared about Drago. Drago never really seemed like a real person to me. So anything to humanize him, but no, it didn't work. It was a boring movie, which is the worst thing you can say about a film. It was fucking boring, and I didn't like sitting through it. Although, again, a really, really well shot movie, even if what they shot was utter trash.
Being a boring Rocky film is a sin.
Yeah, Rocky 4 is anything but boring.
I will say about Creed 2, I did like seeing Robert come back and them having a scene, but they never really got into why they had a falling out from Rocky 6, because at the end of Rocky 6, they were thick as thieves.
He moved away to Toronto. They kind of set up this theme of the movie where Adonis moves back to LA because Bianca wants to move there. His son moved up to Toronto, and Rocky's kind of stuck in Philadelphia, and he doesn't really go or change or move or do anything. So him going to Toronto, I guess, was a big thing for him because he does that at the end of the movie.
Bad. Okay, I've said enough. But Bridget Nielsen, good to have her back, and she looks pretty good for a lady her age. She had her ups and downs. Remember her on that reality show with Flavor Flav? I'm glad she got past that. She's looking pretty again. What do you think?
Never got past Red Sonja, as far as I'm concerned.
Ooh,
I can't forgive her. I can't forgive her for that movie.
Come on, you're looking at
it's the dumbest movie I've ever seen.
A Conan spinoff. What did you expect?
It's something.
Well, you know what? You get a hot chick. You put a red wig on her. You dress her scantily clad. What else do you need?
I need something to follow. I need a narrative. I need exciting action.
The problem is I'm a few years older than you. Did you watch the Deathstalker movies back in the day?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what they were. You get just hot ladies. You dress them in like thongy furry things, and you let it go, and we all enjoy it and say, hey, that was fun. I think Red Sonja, not a great movie, but she looked good in it, and that's all that matters. And she looked good in this, and that's all that matters. I'm glad that she got over whatever problems she had to pull it all together and be a very attractive older lady.
Were you sad like Victor Creed was when she walked out on you, Geno?
Personally, I would be upset because I've supported her even through Cobra.
I'll bet you anything fucking Stallone threw that in there. Bridget Nielsen's character walks out of the boxing match and Victor Creed gets upset. It was like she walked out on me. She's walking out on her son, Victor Creed, too.
Well, I don't think Stallone wrote this. I know he's credited.
No, he didn't write it, but he probably threw that in and nobody noticed. She walks out on everybody.
If I'm not mistaken, isn't that Stallone's ex-wife? Weren't they married?
Yeah, during Rocky IV, yeah. That's why she was in all of his movies. It's not because she's a great actor.
Where else are you going to find a 6'5" beautiful chick? They're rare.
They're not so rare that like a completely talentless person should get leading roles in Hollywood.
But I think
I would have sooner had Leslie Nielsen in those roles than I would Bridget Nielsen. Sorry.
For the sex scenes or for the?
Yes, I'll take Leslie Nielsen in those sex scenes any day.
Now, before we get into another film where someone's really emotional, let's talk about your 2-minute movie review. Every episode, we give Eric 2 minutes to enlighten us with a movie review of something that he's seen and something that he may like or may not like. But he always broadens our horizons. Eric, what do you got lined up for us?
I finally got to go to the theaters, and I saw The Housemaid, starring Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried, directed by Paul Feig, which was a fun little domestic thriller that I loved. I love domestic thrillers,
I wanted to see that one.
It was really good. It's not going to change your life or anything like that, but I had fun in the theater, munching on popcorn and watching these beautiful people going at it, So I would recommend Housemaid, maybe not in the theaters, but definitely, Geno, turn the lights off, make sure the family's in bed, and put on the house.
I'd like to see it.
Then I watched a movie called Him, which I didn't write this down or anything like that because this movie wasn't very good. It's about a football player who gets attacked and has to go to this special training camp to prove that he can still play in the NFL. Visually, very good, very cool to look at.
Yep.
Otherwise, the story itself is pretty stupid. And maybe I don't understand football culture at all, but I was just not impressed. But then, just yesterday, I watched a movie called Black Bag. It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
It stars Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett. It's directed by Steven Soderbergh. It's about a married couple. One's like a human lie detector, and the other one's like a spy. Some things happen. It's much more of a psychological thriller than like, gunfights or action or anything like that. But I was really compelled with this film. Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett are fantastic. The direction is good because Steven Soderbergh is an adult and knows how to direct adult movies, unlike whoever did Creed 2. And this movie was really interesting, and all the performances were good. The writing was spot on. I would highly recommend a movie called Black Bag.
Well, you know what movie I want to see?
What's that?
Is the one about the chimpanzee going crazy. There's a woman, and she keeps a monkey as a pet, and she has a big party, and the monkey goes ape shit and starts killing everybody.
What? What is this?
Yeah, it's. I saw the trailer for it when I went to go see Five Nights at Freddy 2. They got a chimp, and the chimp goes fucking ape shit.
Primate.
And kill.
Is that what it's called?
Maybe. I don't know. I was just very excited because I'm a fan of monkeys. I liked Congo. A lot of people don't like Congo. I like Congo because it's got fucking gorillas in it going ape shit.
I thought Congo was great. Running down, throwing a human head at people. That was a great movie. Bruce Campbell's in it? Come on now. The movie you're talking about is called Primate, which I think is... Oh, yeah, I saw a trailer for this. It looks really fucking good.
Now, we're going into Creed 3. Came out a couple of years ago. This one, I didn't hate as much as the first two. Would you like to give us a synopsis of Creed 3?
When last we left Creed, Adonis Creed, he was the champion of the world, and he still is, and he decides that he's going to retire. We flash back to find out that when he was young, he had a friend named Dame. And Dame protected him after he beat the shit out of some guy outside of a convenience store. Dame got arrested for having a gun. He got put away for 15 years in penitentiary, and Dame just got out. So he approaches Adonis to get him a title shot for the new, who's the new contender is, his name is Felix.
Yeah, Felix Chavez.
Played by Jose
Benavides. Yep.
This dude's got quite the record. 28-3-1-1.
He's no joke.
Actually, I meant to ask you this before. What's the difference between a knockout and a TKO?
A TKO is when you knock your opponent down 3 times in a round, or the referee or corner stops it. A knockout is when you knock the person down and they're out for a 10 count, or they're out cold.
Thank you for that. So Dame just gets out of prison. He wants a title shot. Adonis kind of blows him off and kind of makes him a sparring partner for Felix because no one wants to spar with the champion. Felix is going to fight Victor Drago.
Yes.
Because we're not done embarrassing those characters. But then some mysterious man comes and breaks Victor Drago's hand right before the fight. And the only fighter in the world is Dame, who just got out of prison, was a regional Golden Gloves champion or something like that. Only fighter we can get.
And amazing that Adonis has the power to say, okay, we're going to put the championship against a guy with 0 pro fights. It's basically like saying, okay, Alexander Usyk, the current heavyweight champion, your opponent's out, so Eric Michaelian is now your opponent. And then it's sanctioned.
Does Eric Michaelian know?
Well, just say it's as silly. Then the sanctioning body says, yes, the title's on the line. They're okay with a guy with no pro fights going against a guy like Felix Chavez that's a champion, a seasoned pro. It made no sense. It would have never been allowed. But this is Creed, and all kinds of stupid shit happens in these films.
We don't obey the rules in Creed movies. No. Again, not directed by Ryan Coogler. This one was actually directed by Michael B. Jordan directed this one. They also made sure to mention that this Chavez Drago fight is. I'm gonna make sure it's the fight of the year. It's like there's a fucking healthy dose of foreshadowing there for you. So Dame fights Felix. Now, I don't know anything about boxing. I know he kicked him or something like that during the fight.
Yeah.
Or, kneed him. That's against the rules. Is punching someone in the shoulder against the rules?
It kind of is, but it's something that is usually doesn't lead to like a big problem, because fighters do shit like that. The kicking stuff would be an immediate disqualification.
Mhm.
If the referee didn't see it, and they had a decision that favored Damien, they could theoretically disqualify him after the fight if they saw it. The dirty tactics by Damien were pretty unrealistic, but punching him in the shoulder is basically legal. They won't frown upon that too much.
Okay. Dame ends up beating Felix and almost killing him. And he becomes the champion of the world, which is what he wanted from the get-go. Now, I don't know if this was intentional, but Dame had been manipulating Adonis from the very get-go. Did you get the idea that what he was doing was intentional? Or was it just kind of like he wanted a title shot? He really was grateful for the opportunity, but just kept wanting more and more and more as the movie progressed. And then he became a total cocky dick when he became the world champion.
I actually really liked Jonathan Majors in this. The Damien character, I don't think he came there to fuck over Adonis. He just came there to basically get what he wanted. He was very self-serving. He wanted the world title. He wanted to have a better life. He's coming out of prison after 15 or 18 years, whatever it is. He has to be on the fast track to wealth because he's not young enough to make it happen otherwise. So I don't think he started out by wanting to step all over Adonis, but he certainly saw him as a tool to get there. But I also think he saw him as a friend, even though they're troubled. I still think Damien didn't hate Adonis, but he loved himself a lot more.
I get you. Adonis decides that he wants to fight Dame. Adonis goes on television. Dame calls in and he starts insulting him live over the air. And that's it. We got to fight, I guess. Again, great camera work and stuff. Now, the final fight between Dame and Adonis takes some huge expressionistic liberties. At certain points, the arena empties, which I'm like, hey, that's a great way to save money. Just like fighting an empty arena. Prison walls come up around the ring. So it becomes very artistic in a sense. Again, you cannot take away from these movies that they all look incredible. But through some slick tactics, Adonis beats Dame. And what did you think of that little defensive thing that Dame was doing where he puts his arms in front of his face like that? Is that a practical boxing technique?
Yeah, you kind of like have the cross arm defense that like George Foreman did it. Floyd Mayweather does it. So they were kind of emulating that with Damien, which worked out for him. And I think the end fight that you bring up where they use all the bad prison backdrop, the empty arena, it just feeds more into the problem of this entire series where they're focusing too much on the emotion and not enough on the fun factor. As much as I enjoyed this one comparatively, I would not watch this one again. It's just too boring. Like I like Jonathan Majors. Damien was a great character, but when he was off screen, I had a hard time with this one. What did you think of Damien and Jonathan Majors as Damien? And do you think he was the highlight of this film?
Holy fuck, dude. I have a whole thing about Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors to me is a real fucking tragedy. I don't know if you've seen him in anything else.
I have not.
That guy is so talented. An incredible actor. This was the first thing I ever saw him in. It was either this or The Harder They Fall, which was a great Western starring Idris Elba and Lakeith Stanfield. I don't know which one I saw him in first, but this movie really made me take notice of this guy. The levels he was hitting with being kind of ashamed about asking for stuff, but at the same time being aggressive with it, pulling back, pushing forward, the way he was able to play such a convincing asshole, but also like someone who's really just like emotionally crippled. He brought everything to this movie. And that's why I love this movie. He did such a great job with this. And Michael B. Jordan I know you don't like him in these movies, but he's no slouch as an actor either. But Jonathan Majors, he stole this film from everybody. I mean, other stuff happens in this movie, like Felicia Rashad dies.
Yeah, she does. Yep.
Their kid Amara gets into fights at school or whatever, but none of that really fucking matters. It's all
No, none
about
of it
this
matters.
relationship. And at the end, they forgive each other in the locker room. That's a very convincing scene too. He was able to hit all of these levels that I think only like a really fucking great actor can do. And I think
Yep.
he nailed it. And do you know what happened to this guy?
No.
Oh, dude, it's such a tragedy. He was in this sort of domestically abusive relationship. It's all he says that she hits him, she says that he hits her. It's this whole back and forth. And he
Hmm.
got brought up on charges for like third-degree assault. Rolling Stone did a piece on him where like people were like, yeah, he was kind of verbally abusive and psychologically abusive, and like his career crashed like overnight. And you're
Oh,
just like, bro, come
okay.
on, man. He was set to be the big Avengers bad guy. Yeah, he was going to be the bad guy in the new Avengers movie. And then after all this assault shit talk, they completely changed course and ended up casting Robert Downey Jr. in a completely weird stunt.
Wow.
But it's like, he was so good. He was so good. You hate to see these actors get accused of doing stupid shit or doing stupid shit in their personal lives. Like, come the fuck on, man.
Yeah, it sucks. You see that with like celebrities. If you're that wealthy and have that much going for you, why would you risk it over anything?
Right.
Like, why would you, because how rich you are doesn't matter. Well, it does matter in court, but you can still go to prison for shit. Do you want to have 100 million in the bank and be sitting in prison? So too bad on Jonathan Majors, but
Yeah.
if he is a jerk off in real life, then you make your bed, you lie in it.
So, what did you think of the training montage in Creed 3?
It was okay. Once again, Jonathan Majors did such a good job as Damien in this. I was really compelled all around by that character. The training montages, his snarky shit after he became a big deal, the way he spoke to Bianca, kind of like being a dickhead but trying to keep it under the radar with Adonis. I liked that a lot. The training montages I thought were comparable to the other two, not terrible, not memorable, but decent, I suppose. How about you?
Yeah, they reminded me a lot of Rocky 3. I think this movie really wanted to be Rocky 3 with
Hmm.
the shit talking challenger and like challenging
Yeah.
his manhood and going after his girl and shit like that. The training montage in this was pretty good. I don't remember it that much. Is this the one where he punches a tree?
It is the one where he punches a tree. Yes.
Oh yeah, he like punches a tree and like pulls an airplane, and you kind of have to wonder like, are you guys just like trying to think of random shit to do in these training montages? It's
Yeah, the
like
pulling an airplane. Yeah, it's crazy.
you're like, I mean, I guess we could just lift weights and do some pull-ups, but there's this airplane over here. It's like, all
Yep.
right, man. Like, what does pulling an airplane have to do with boxing?
Well,
Like,
in their defense, when George Foreman came back, he would pull trucks as one of his exercises, and he'd chop wood. So he did some things that were like very unusual. So
I get
maybe they were
the chopping
trying to
wood.
emulate.
I understand, but like the pulling the airplane, I guess it's like a sled, like where the sleds they
Yep.
have in the gym where you push all the weights around and stuff. But
Right.
I guess it helps your legs and your shoulders. Maybe I don't know. You're a
And
boxing expert, so yeah, you tell me if I'm way off base.
no, I think I think it was just exaggerated as to what boxers do, and it looked cool, like. But him punching the tree, why are you going to be risking your hands like that? A lot of stuff in this film is just let's make it very, very cinematic and cool. It is, but it's also if you're a boxing fan, you kind of scratch your head. What are they doing? And why did they fuck over Victor Drago again so badly in this? And then he becomes Adonis's bitch boy in it, which I didn't like. Did that piss you off too?
Not really. I mean, this movie is very cartoonish in a lot of ways. Anything that kind of happened, I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, like that makes sense. Like
Hmm.
none of this really makes sense anymore. Like none of
Yep.
these movies don't really make a whole lot of sense after
Right.
Rocky 2.
Hmm.
Like none of them really make sense anymore. At this point, I'm just like, okay, like I guess, yeah, the arena disappears and Victor Drago's there for like 5 seconds and He's his sparring partner, which doesn't make any
Mhm.
sense because, like you said, you would want someone who fights like Dame, right?
Yes, yeah, Damien. Yep,
And Victor
you would.
Drago does not fight anything like Damien.
No, he's twice his size.
I know, and you're just
And-
like, but to me, it's like, all right, like whatever. These movies have just become random shit happens, and is it interesting enough to pay attention to?
and where's Victor's title shot? Does he just lose it from that one hand injury? He never gets it again. He was number one contender.
I know.
What the
He was
fuck?
the number one contender. He gets injured. And then, well, yeah, we forgot to mention that Dame is the one that injured Victor. He hired a guy to do it. And here's another thing about this movie. Damien writes to Adonis while he's in prison, and Felicia Rashad takes all of his letters and hides them. And
Yes.
the same thing happened in The Notebook. And I'm just like, if you guys are trying to like keep people from contacting you, why do you keep the letters and not just burn them or toss them? You know what I mean? It's like the smoking gun of evidence.
Over the Top also had that.
Oh God, yeah. How could I forget that great Stallone movie?
This movie's tough, but here's my question for you, Eric. Okay. One, how do you rate this against the other two? And if you were in charge and they said, come up with an idea for Creed 4 without answering kill the series, what would you do?
I would probably rank these as fuck. Jonathan Majors' performance really carries this whole movie. Fucking Michael B. Jordan is like, he's getting up there in age. I want to see him lose, and I want to see him lose clean, because these movies don't explore like what's it like for him to lose and like really get his ego shattered by that. I would move away from the father Creed thing, which the third one kind of did, which is good. I would move away from that, move away from Rocky, like have him be sort of an anachronism in modern boxing. Cause like I was watching this and being like, fucking all these entrances and shit like that. Like, when did boxing become pro wrestling? Everyone's entrance is a fucking laser light show, and like there's smoke and fire and shit like that. Like every entrance has become Apollo Creed's entrance in part 4. Oh, and Creed 2, wasn't Bianca's song his entrance song? Wasn't that so good?
Oh my God, you're so talented. Loved. Terrible stuff.
I would do something where Creed is he's the previous generation boxer, and he's coming up against some young upstarts. And because I think like Michael B. Jordan's like a hair younger than I am. The next crop of 20 somethings coming in, he's got to go through the gauntlet. He has to outwork and outthink. Because part of the reason I like boxing, I don't watch it all the time, but I love the psychology of it. Everybody has like a style of fighting, and how is this style going to go against this style? Like I think I watched the whole trilogy of Muhammad Ali. Joe Frazier. Yep. What amazing boxing matches.
Oh my God.
Ali kept like trying to like move around him, and he would just like, he would kind of like literally box him in and like get him into a corner and just start wailing on him. And I'm like, I love that head down, fists up approach, which is so different from Ali's flamboyant, footwork and, moving around. That shit's so fascinating to me. And I would love to see a movie where he has to outthink these young boxers while at the same time trying to train younger boxers. I would like to see something like that. So Geno, how do you rank this trilogy? I know they all started a deficit for you. How would you rank this trilogy, and what would you do for a new Creed movie?
3, 1, and 2. The third one I didn't hate. I didn't love it, but I was able to watch it and say it took some enjoyment from it. Obviously, 2 is by far the worst. 1 is a film that could have been decent, but it's just too whiny for my tastes. If they said, Geno, you got full control, I like the idea of bringing Victor back, getting him back in there, and maybe have something where Damien kind of like has an argument with Felicia Rashad, like it's a flashback, and him saying you should never torn up those letters, or you should have got the letters. Some big argument between the two, because she's rich and he's been in prison. He resents her, and she has her heart attack, lands on the floor. Michael B. Jordan finds the security footage. Now they're all set. Adonis gets hurt, and Victor becomes his best buddy and goes in there and wins the title. The end. And Dragos celebrate. He gets back with his woman, and all is well in the world. Yeah, something like that.
How about this? For the
Yeah.
first time in boxing history,
Hmm.
a triple threat boxing match.
Oh, I don't think it's the first time in boxing history. They've done exhibitions with more than 2 fighters.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah,
Like in a
you-
tag team, or just like tornado style?
tornado style, free for all.
Holy shit! Send me this
yeah.
video.
And MMA is notorious for it, like these
Is it
sideshows.
really?
Where you had like what's his face? The world's strongest man. He fought 2 YouTubers. Sometimes, like in like Russia, Ukraine, they have guys fighting like 3 women. It's crazy.
I never
Yeah.
knew that.
Yeah, so
Here,
it's
I thought I was being innovative.
no, it's been done. It's been done, but in boxing, it's a lot more rare. It's always like, let's come up with a triangle ring. Let's do it bare knuckle. All these different things to try to find a market, like that slap shit. Have you seen that? It kind of had
Yeah.
5 minutes of fame. Complete garbage.
Most of those things I see are like AI though. You can't trust anything on social media anymore. So like I'll see clips of it, but I'm just like, this looks fucking fake as hell.
Yeah, and it's getting better though. Unfortunately, it's
Yeah.
almost hard to distinguish.
I-
But anyway, final thoughts on Creed and the Rocky series. Is it a compliment? Does it actually feel like another part of the Rocky story, or is it a separate entity in and of itself?
I think these movies are really good. I'm not in love with the Rocky series, but I like the Rocky series, and I think everybody should watch the first one. You have to. It's a rite of passage. I think that it's good that these movies opened up a whole new audience, especially like that young men, maybe they're interested in fighting and watching a story about a sensitive guy who can be a tough guy. I think that's like what every man should be, is like,
Yeah.
you are sensitive, you are attentive to people's needs, and you help people, and you're a good person. But at the same time, you should be able to know how to defend yourself.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's very inspiring for young people who are into that, who may not necessarily latch onto a character like Rocky, but who may be a little more emotionally unstable. And like, I think these are pretty good movies for that, except the second one, which is just boring. Nobody should watch it. The first one and the third one, more the first Creed, it feels like a Rocky movie. And the third one feels like its own separate thing, which is really good that they did. Watching Stallone play this character is always a great fucking time. So just for that, I would say yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to cover the Rocky series as a whole at some point. Probably
Sure.
like a 2-part episode.
For sure,
But
definitely.
I feel like these are good. I feel like it kept Stallone relevant. It throws back to those times, despite what anyone says about these films. They're inspirational, all of them. 1 through Creed 3, they tackle with various kinds of issues and problems. Some are still relevant. The Cold War, not so much, but still relevant today. So I would say absolutely they feel part of the series, even the lamest parts of the series. So yeah, I would say check them out. Geno, what are your final thoughts in summation?
Definitely watch the Rocky films. These, it's one and done. I don't think, for the most part, anyone that watches these will walk away thinking they're classics or I need to add this to my collection. It's just fluff. The characters are tough. No one is going to say 20 years from now, oh, Creed, I love that Creed character, unless they're saying Apollo. The third one, I don't know if it was just good in my mind because I had watched the other 2 right before it, and so it had small shoes to fill. But it does connect to the Rocky films a little bit, having Rocky in the first 2, having Drago in it, and I'm a huge fan of Drago, but not so much of how they used him. But overall, this series, I could live without it. They really dropped the ball on this series. Bad lead, bad wife, Drago underused, and a lot of stupid decisions. Thumbs down, skip it unless you're a diehard Rocky fan and are just curious.
Give it a little love, I say. Do you feel that these movies would have been better if Rocky wasn't in them?
No. I had higher hopes because they were a Rocky spinoff and they were using notable characters. So I was kind of excited because the whole nostalgia thing and I wanted to see where they are now. But you brought it up before, like, what is a man? What characteristics should a man have? And Adonis, why would Bianca be with him? Like, he's just off his rocker half the time and he's crying the other half of the time. And she's nothing to write home about. They needed to work on the leads to make them more likable, more believable, and show like what a man is and what the wife should be in that situation. And it was just a battle. He was battling her as much as he was battling his opponents. It's just, you could have put any label on this series. I would have still walked away saying, these are not good boxing movies.
Fair enough. And those were our thoughts on the Creed movies for the Subject to Changes podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. Do you have any New Year's resolutions, man?
I really don't, because I think I have everything relatively on track. You always want to be nicer, but I did do something nice on New Year's Eve when a old guy in his thousands, or however old he was, crashed into a woman in her car and he tried to take off, and I stopped him and I made them talk and exchange insurance. So that whole be nicer thing, I think I'm as nice as can be. You can always improve on things, but I have no New Year's resolutions whatsoever. How about you, Eric? What do you got?
Maybe I'll finally quit smoking.
Yeah.
That's it for now. I finish a script, maybe. I don't know.
Well, there you go. And we hope everyone out there has a New Year's resolution that's positive. And to Michael B. Jordan, I didn't call you a bitch directly. That was the character. But you can text us or email us and air your complaints should you not like it. And if you don't like it, eat it.
Text Geno. Email Geno. Eric had nothing to do with this. Eric had nothing but praise. I've loved you since The Wire. You were so good on that show. I'm still crying about it. So, Geno McGahee. Ask him his middle name.
Now I know who will play the next bitch in the next Rocky spinoff.
Will you sign me up to fight Ivan Drago, for Christ's sake? I'm not showing up.
No, don't.
That would have been funny though, if you were like for Creed 4, Eric versus Ivan Drago.
You could be Paulie Jr.
I want to be Mr. T. I want to be Batter Lang.
Oh, that would be awesome. Thank you everyone for listening. We appreciate you listening to our mad ramblings and complaints and love of these movies. And we'll see you next time.
Be a thinker, not a stinker.